Hi everyone, this is Joe. Today on the Battlemace RPG system, I like just to go over the basics of equipment, your weapons, and your armor to get us a good feel of how everything works. Before we start that, though, let's first talk about money. You can't buy equipment if you don't have money. Battlemace uses the copper, silver, and gold piece. 1 gold piece equals 10 silver or 100 copper. 1 silver piece equals 10 copper. Gold will be abbreviated as GP, silver SP, and copper as CP. So these are some of the equipment out of the core rulebook. So basically, it's going to give you what the item is, what the price, and a description. Like the backpack. It costs 1 silver piece. Your storage area, you could hold up to 20 items in a backpack. We're not doing encumbrance as weight, but we are doing it as items. Your backpack, 20 items. So that can be a piece of chalk and a piece of full plate armor. That's 2 items. We're not doing weight, we're just doing the number. You still have to do some inventory management, but no, you don't have to worry about slowing down because you got too much weight. Let's look at a couple items here just to give us a feel. Descriptions are, in typical Battlemace fashion, very short to allow you and your players to come up with some other description or the color of the item, just to give their imaginations a breathing room. It's like something very simple, like the piece of chalk we talked about. That 1 copper piece, and it says a small white stick of chalk. So, like this will have a description of the color. Commissioners feel free to change colors if need be for situations or interest. Everything is a 1 of quantity, like 1 candle, 1 piece of chalk, 1 compass, unless it specifically says, like our items, the python, that says 5. So all 5 comes in a kit that acts as 1. Some things like the rations. It's a pack of food that can last 5 days. That's 1 ration, but it lasts 5 days. So that counts as 1 on your item list, say in your backpack. Why have things in a backpack, you may ask? Well, if your hands are full, you've got to have it put somewhere, right? Let's go to the next page. I printed this out from PDF if you was wondering what I was doing. Some things like a bandolier, 1 gold piece. A bandolier is worn across the chest and allows 5 small items, like potions and daggers, to be accessed quickly. So what does that tell me? I don't have to put these items in my backpack, and if they're able to access them quickly, I don't have to use an action to get them out of something. They're just there. They're on my chest. I can use my action to throw that dagger instead of getting it out of my pack and then throwing it. There's some items. There's some magical items like potions. A light healing potion is 10 gold pieces and heals 1d8. We have moderate, greater, major. As you see, they go from 1d8 to 2d8, 4d10, 5d12. We have light healing group. Does 15 gold is 1d4 healing, but a 15-foot radius. So everybody in the 15-foot gets a d4. The healing gel. It's a d4 healing. Like all these potions, you can throw it at somebody if you can't get to them. And when it explodes on them, it heals them. Non-magical, like the med kit. It's 1d6 healing and status restoration. So that means if you're poisoned or you're paralyzed, it fixes this. But it costs 2 actions to use. But it is I consider it a non-magical use of healing. Alright, let's move on to weapons. There's types of weapon damage: bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing. Now, some weapons will have more than one type, as you'll see in a minute. And there are some weapons have a bonus effect against certain creatures, or if they crit. These bonus effects make the lighter, less powerful weapons more interesting and more viable. Alright, next page. First category is common. If you can use all character classes can use the common weapons. The other classes, all classes will say I can use certain classes, but all of them will have the common weapons. These are weapons that are just, in general, you can find very easy. Most of your peasants, your common folk are going to have, if they have a weapon, it's going to most likely be one of these. I'll give you an example, like the dagger, very common weapon. It's a d4 damage. And you use your strength or dex modifier. So when you're rolling to hit, you could add your strength or dex to your hit, and your strength or dex to your damage modifier. So, for example, you're using strength. You got a +2 in your strength. So you have roll your d10 and add 2 to hit. Then when you hit, you add a d4. You roll your d4, and you add that +2 to get your total damage. Range. What is range? That's how far you can throw this weapon. 15 feet. So you can throw it 3 squares, basically, a 5-foot square. And it does piercing and slashing damage. It requires one hand to use, and it has a price of 8 silver pieces. You should notice this is blank here, the reach, just how far the weapon can go outside your normal square. You cannot reach anyone outside your normal attack range with this weapon. The dagger has a special feature of +1 damage added to your crit rolls. When you crit, you roll on the crit hit table, and whatever special damage or item damage that you do, you will add +1 damage to that regardless. So for example, you roll that d4 and say your crit was ×3. So you would roll your damage, times it 3 times and then add +1. There's another example. The sickle. It's a D4 strength modifier, and it does slashing, one-handed, 1 gold piece. The feature of this is +1 damage to undead, and it says +2 at level 10. So that means once your character has hit level 10 or above, you add +2 to the damage. Then we have some different examples of staff. D4/D6. Strength or dex. No range, of course. B for bludgeoning. 1 or 2 hands. 5 silver pieces. Feature, it is 1d6 when you use both hands. So if you want to one-hand the staff, you're doing 1d4 to free up your other hand for whatever you need it to do. Or you want to grip it with both hands, it does a d6 instead. Next category is smash. Your clubs, your mace, your morning star, your stone warhammer, things that primarily are smashing things, but they can do other things as well. We'll give a few examples. The club. See, the D6, strength, bludgeoning, one-handed, but it's only 6 silver pieces. It's pretty cheap, right? Why is it cheap? Because on a feature, if you have a crit fail, I bet you roll a natural 1, it breaks. So that means it is unusable. It is gone. Remember, you're rolling a D10, so you have a 10% chance. So you can have a strong weapon for cheap, but there's a very good chance it could break. Things like the Morning Star, D6, strength, bludgeoning and piercing, one-handed, 10 gold pieces. Feature, a D8 dice damage on a critical hit. Alright? That means this D6, when you crit, turns to a D8. Some weapons do things to certain kind of creatures. Stone Warhammer, it's a D8, strength, bludgeoning, one-handed, 18 gold pieces. The feature of this, +1 damage to insects, +2 at level 10. Let's got another category for examples. The point and cut. So you got your regular longsword. It's a D8, strength, slashing, piercing, one-handed, 25 gold pieces. But you have something like the Obsidian longsword. It's 1d8 +2, strength, slashing, piercing, one-handed, 30 gold pieces. It's a better damage dealer, but the feature on a critical hit, the sword breaks. Because we all know Obsidian is very sharp, but very brittle. Something like the Scimitar. It's also a D8, strength or dex, slashing, one-handed, 30 gold pieces. Feature, +1 damage to bears, +2 after level 10. There's a different feature on this. Let's talk about the Khopesh. I hope I said that right. No, I apologize. It's a D6, strength, slashing, one-handed, 17 gold pieces. The feature is +1 to grapple. So that works 2 different ways. One, you can use it offensively. Say I have the weapon in my hand and a free hand to grab somebody. So grabbing them, I would add +1 to my grabbing roll. Let's say, okay, can I use it? What other way can I use it? Say I have this sword in my hand, and I have a shield. I don't have a free hand, but if someone tries to grab you, you get +1 to your grapple check for your defense. But this only works if you have the item in your hand. You can't have it in your bag and it works. That's not how it goes. Alright, we got another category. Pole arms. Pole arms will take a -1 to hit if you're within the 5 foot. So basically, if someone is right next to you, you're taking a penalty of -1. Because they're meant for reaching. Let's give the halberd. It's a D10, strength, piercing, and slashing, two-handed, 10-foot reach, so 1 square adjacent from where you normally are, and it's 40 gold pieces. Another category we call the big boy. These are big weapons. Your greatsword, a D12, strength, slashing, piercing, two-handed, 55 gold pieces. You notice the pole arms, and especially the big boy, don't have any special features. Because they do a lot of damage flat out. The ones that have special features are the lower damage, but it makes the lower damage items more useful. So you don't have to power up and say, okay, I have to have a big weapon to do this. No. All the weapons are useful in a way. Alright. Next category is specialty. These are different weapons lumped together. A rapier, D6, dex, piercing, one-handed, 20 gold pieces. Feature is +1 damage to spiders and crabs, +2 after level 10. Like the nunchuck, the D6, the dex, bludgeoning, one-handed, 12 gold pieces. Damage changes to D8 on a critical. The whip, 1d4 damage, dex. Slashing, one-handed. It has a 10-foot range, so you don't have to be right on top of somebody to use it. 5 gold pieces. It's a little cheaper, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. But you get also +2 to your grapple. The katana, 1d8/1d10 strength. Slashing, one or two-handed, 35 gold pieces. It becomes a D10 when you use it in both hands. Next category, the range. Javelin, 1d6, strength, 30 feet. That's how far from you it can reach. Piercing damage, one-handed, and 5 silver pieces. I'm sorry, it's got a little off there on the sheet. Sling is a D4, strength, 30 feet, bludgeoning, one-handed. Yes, I do. I know you can load it. You've seen many people load them with 2 hands, but you use one hand to use it. In this game, 5 copper pieces. Feature: 1 +1 damage to giants. +2 after level 10. It takes 0 actions to reload. Ammo: you buy 5 stone balls at a time for 1 copper piece. One of the most common weapons you probably will see, your short bow. 1d6, dex, 40-foot range, piercings, two-handed, 50 gold pieces. Ammo, 12 arrows is 1 silver piece. These are good to know when you go to the shop to buy some. 0 reload time. So it doesn't come. Remember that 0 means you don't. It does not cost you an action to reload. So if it's on your turn, on your 2 actions, you can shoot. Well, let's look at the longbow. It goes to a D10 damage, dex, 100 foot, piercing, 2-handed, 75 gold pieces. The ammo is still 12 arrows, 1 silver piece, but has a reload time of 1. So it takes 1 action to reload the longbow. Let's move down to crossbow. It's a D8. It's going to use your strength. 35 feet, piercing, 2-handed, 60 gold pieces. Alright, then we go to ammo, 12 bolts, 2 silver pieces, and reload time 1. Heavy crossbow, it's a D12, strength, 80 feet, piercing and bludgeoning, 2-handed, 90 gold pieces. Ammo can be 12 heavy bolts for 2 silver pieces, or 12 bludgeoning bolts for 2 silver pieces. So the heavy does the piercing, and the bludgeoning does the bludgeoning. It takes reload of 2. It takes 2 actions to reload. Why did it take so long? Well, you got a D12 damage from 80 feet away. You're hitting hard. You can go use your turn. When it's on your turn, shoot. Start your reload. When it's your turn again, you can finish your reload. That's another action. See, there's your 2 actions. And then you can shoot again. So you can shoot every turn like that. The 2 turns in a row, you can still shoot. How about something like the blowgun? 1d4, dex, 35 feet, piercing, 2-handed, 1 silver piece, ammo, 5 needles, 5 copper pieces, reload 1. Now, if something doesn't have a reload, like we looked at the javelin and, say, the shuriken. 1d4, dex, 25 feet, piercing, 1-handed, 1 silver piece. You're just throwing an object, and that's it. The object's wherever it landed in. All right, now let's look at armor and shields. Because you want some armor and shields, because you sure want to live. How we break it up: armor and shields. Both the shield light. Now there will be more types of shields that can come out, but these are just the ones in the core rulebook. Gambison. AC bonus is +1. Speed penalty 0. Price 2 gold pieces. Special +4 to stealth checks. This is very good for sneaking. As you notice, some of these will have special things, and a few will not, like your leather won't, but it's a +2, 0 speed penalty, 10 gold pieces. But then you got the brigandine, that's also +2, but 30 gold pieces. But you get 1 damage reduction from ranged weapons. So if I hit you with an arrow, say I roll and it comes to be 5 damage, you're only taking 4 damage with that for each hit. But some things are louder, like the chain shirt, +3 the AC, so it's better AC. No speed penalty, costs 100 gold pieces, but you get -5 on your stealth checks. A little harder to sneak when you got the metal chains. You got some things like medium. We'll go a couple of these. We won't have to tell all of them. Wooden shield, +2. 0 speed penalty, 15 gold pieces, 1 damage reduction against insects. So that's their bites, their melee, bikes there, or say they're shooting something at you, you get +1 damage reduction against that. Let's go down all the way down here to breastplate, +5 AC, but you get -5 speed. $225 gold pieces. -5 on stealth checks. It's heavier, that's why you're getting the speed penalty. Let's also look at like the heavy armor. Half plate, +6. -10 on the speed. 700 gold pieces, -5 on the stealth checks. But also full plate is also +6, -10. But see, it's a lot more money, 1,600. You get -10 on the stealth, but you get 1 spell reduction and 1 magic reduction. So you're better against spells when you have a full plate. Let's throw a little shield action. It goes in the medium, heavy, and light categories as well. Give a couple examples. The bronze buckler gives you +1 AC, 3 gold pieces. Now the cheaper wooden buckler also gives you +1, is only 1 gold piece, but if you suffer a critical hit or a critical failure, it breaks. Something like the Arcana shield has no AC bonus. But see, it'll give you +1 your magic resistance. So you got 1 less damage coming from spells. Yeah, like the feather shield, +3 to your jump skill. It's a medium. Your basics, say your hide, got +2, 5 gold pieces. Your stone shield, +2, 7 gold pieces. You get +1 damage reduction against acid, but you lose 5 speed when you have it. And we also have heavy shields. Your regular steel shields, +3, 25 gold pieces. Protector shield, +3, 35 gold pieces. But you get +1 damage reduction against dragons. And say your tower shield, +3, 40 gold pieces, lose 5 feet of speed, but you gain +2 damage reduction from range attacks. See, these are all the things in the core rulebook. We wanted to make it not too big of a list, and the things you have can be very customizable. Was like you can customize them down the road, but right at the beginning when you buy something, I mean, look at they're all, say the shield, are all +2. They all do something different, just like the weapons. It gives you a little more flavor. Hey, do I want something that's going to be better against ranged weapons? Or I know I got to go fight, and there's a lot of bugs in this particular area. So I get the cedar shield, so I have a little more damage reduction against the insects. Or maybe you're that mage that can't really equip anything, but say, okay, well, I can get better magic resistance, or at least a feather shield, and I can jump better. Especially you were the thief, you would definitely might want to jump from rooftop to rooftop. Well, I hope that helps you in our explanation of our equipment, weapons, shields, armor, and the core rulebook. And as always, thank you so much for staying with me with the video. And as always, can you like and subscribe to this video? And don't forget, you can pick up the Battlemace RPG PDF at drivethrurpg.com. Just type in Battlemace RPG at the search. Thank you so much, and everyone have a wonderful day.